Act on the Auditor General's corruption cases, THEMBA Mliswa tells Zanu PF officials. Following the Auditor General's report that has indicated massive corruption in Zanu PF, including many permanent secretaries, many Zimbabweans are calling out for an action to be taken on anyone who is implicated in these corrupt activities. We have seen throughout the media, throughout social media, throughout other mouthpieces of communication, many Zimbabwean people coming of all walks of life coming out condemning what has happened right in the ZANU-PF administration. And it seems Mnangagwa is just comfortable with all these allegations and all these corrupt activities that are happening within his administration. It is so ironic and very surprising why a government would ignore such kind of gross mismanagement of public funds that we are seeing happening in the government of Emmerson Mnangagwa. And this only on its own indicates that we are dealing with a government that does not have the people at heart, a government that does not care what we as Zimbabwean people think about their conduct. All this happens because we know that we are dealing with a government that understands that they do not have the mandate of the Zimbabwean people to do what they are doing right now. I mean, in terms of administering the country. Emmerson Mnangagwa was not given the mandate by the people of Zimbabwe, and all those other ZANU-PF goons who are following Mnangagwa, they don't have the mandate to run the country. And this is why they don't care about our opinions or even what we think about the way that they are handling issues in our country. While, of course, we disagree so much with the THEMBA Mliswa, but I always tell you, family, that whenever somebody is on the right side of things, we always recommend that he is on the right side. If he's on the wrong side, he is on the wrong side. On this one, we totally agree with THEMBA Mliswa, because he writes that the burden is now upon Parliament of Zimbabwe to adopt this Attorney General report and go after all those entities whose names have come up. The Attorney General report can't be a ceremonial exercise in futility when corruption is clearly the biggest burden to the nation. And exactly this is what is happening. Because this Attorney General's report has always been coming out and pointing out to so much corruption that is happening from the time of Robert Mugabe. But very little has been done, if not nothing at all, about the people that are implicated in many of these corruption cases. And it is so disturbing when we see that we have a government that cares not about especially governance, transparency, and how they conduct themselves as an elected official. An elected official is always supposed to be accountable to the people that elect them. But with ZANU-PF, they know that they are never elected because they rig elections. They don't care what happens. They don't care what people think. We also have the Open Council Harare also coming up with quite a lot of other corrupt activities that are happening. The Auditor General's report has become an annual fest of the dubious, the shocking, and the maddening. However, the importance and inaction that comes after the report should be most worrying. So many people are implicated in these activities. These are people that are supposed to be going before commissions, and they have to be responding to questions. They have to be interrogated, and many of them will have to be imprisoned eventually. Well, they can be protected by Mnangagwa today. As always, they know that as long as they are putting on a scarf, nothing will happen to them. But the truth of the matter is that this thing is going to turn around and bite many people. There are many people who are going to end up in prison after Mnangagwa is out of power. They may continue to do what they are doing today, thinking that they are invincible, thinking that nothing will happen to them, and they may continue even doing more and more of these dubious acts of stealing public money, misappropriating the funds that are supposed to be benefiting the citizens of Zimbabwe. While we see hospitals, roads, water reticulation systems, electricity, and all the like suffering so massively in Zimbabwe. And yet there is a group of people that are hell-bent on making sure that they milk Zimbabwe dry, taking every penny that is supposed to be public funds and using it for their own personal benefit. And this is not going to end well. And as usual, we want to continue to remind these people. We will continue to tell them, even if they ignore us, we will continue to remind them and to tell them that a day is coming, guys, that all these things that you are doing are going to come back and haunt you. You will never be protected by Mnangagwa forever, because Mnangagwa is not going to be there forever. Mnangagwa is seeing his last days. Very, very soon, Mnangagwa is collapsing, and there shall come somebody else who is totally different, who allowed the law to take its course. And there is no how that you people are going to escape this. Some of you are going to run away from the nation. Some of you run away when Zimbabwe is becoming a better country, a more democratic country, a more accommodative and prosperous nation. We will have some that shall be running away from Zimbabwe. And when you run away from Zimbabwe, it's not a guarantee that you will not be extradited back again to face the wrath of the law in Zimbabwe. Many of you are going to be very unfortunate, because whatever countries that you think you run to, we will negotiate and make sure that you are brought back to answer the allegations of all this corruption and all these cases of rule of law that you are breaking right in Zimbabwe. So it's so sickening to find that we have a government that wants to pretend as if it's business as usual, when such kind of reports that are coming, like the reports of the Auditor General, coming out so massively. We would not ever imagine a government that would just look to the side and instead continue to be talking about an extension of budget, when the very budget that they were given was given to them was misappropriated, and many, many millions have gone down the drain. And one wonders what really is happening, because this is a government that is supposed to be providing services to the people of Zimbabwe. And you hear them talking about corruption. You hear them talking about sanctions. You hear them hiding behind many things like the El Nino, the natural disasters, hiding their failures. And yet the failure of ZANU-PF is very clear. It's clear because it's corruption. While Zimbabwe is trying to recover, it is being destroyed by the very people that are sitting in high offices. They are sitting on millions of dollars that they are siphoning out of the coffers of the public purse, and the money is going into personal properties. Personal pockets, and these people are enriching themselves. And when you hear them sing ED Fair, ED 2030, it's not about anything. It's about them extending and prolonging their time to continue stealing from the purse of Zimbabwe, from the public funds of Zimbabwe. And yet Zimbabweans continue to suffer. But all that we are saying is it's never going to be forever. Everything has its end. There is a day for all things, and there is a season for everything. And the season will come and the season will go. The season for ZANU-PF to be ruling right now is this one, but it is already reached its end. And some other people are going to be coming in, and things are never going to be the same for other people that have thought that ZANU-PF will stay in power forever, and they've used and abused that opportunity to commit crimes. Something is going to give. One day, someone is going to pay through their noses. Someday, somebody will never like what they are doing today. The joy that you are going through with stolen money today is never going to be even equivalent to the suffering that is coming ahead, because pain is still coming ahead for everyone who is breaching the law, everyone who is stealing, everyone who is causing and contributing to the suffering of the masses of Zimbabwe. So this is what it is, family. We will continue to be watching what is going to be unfolding in our nation as we draw closer and closer to the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. Let's continue to put pressure on ZANU-PF. Let's continue to stand up, plan, talk to each other, discuss, and find ways in which we can put more and more pressure on ZANU-PF. We want them gone like yesterday. Subscribe to this channel, like and share. We'll meet in the next show.